Good evening and welcome to Newsbite. I'm Anne Clarke and making the headlines this week. ESH takes us on a tour of their projects around the island. We talk to the Class Afloat, traditional pancake races on Shrove Tuesday, and we have highlights from cricket and women's volleyball. But first, the airplane that is going to fly to St Helena has been photographed at the factory in the US. The plane is a modified Boeing 737-800 which will carry about 120 passengers. Photographer Brandon Farris took these pictures of the plane as it was on the tarmac in Seattle. It has taken to the air 3 times over the last couple of days. On Monday, Enterprise St Helena held an information day where they invited guests on an organized trip to see some of the tourism, business and capital projects which they support around the island. Liam Yan attended the trip and gave his views on what he observed.
We began our visit at the canister, where we received a briefing from ESH's Chief Executive of Economic Development, Niall O'Keefe. Niall spoke about some of the work ESH has been doing and have done over the past year. Our first visit was to the market in Jamestown, which is one of ESH's capital projects. Capital Projects Manager David Goodrick spoke about some of the renovations that were being done, which he says will give the market a more shop feel. We then headed to High Knoll, where we learned about plans to introduce 6 passing bays to the road leading to the heritage site. The bays will be dug out and tarmacked with curbs. The idea is to free up the flow of traffic for visitors to the fort. From there, we made our way to Blue Hill to see Green Wagon, an agricultural business set up by Steve Evans and Joan Peters with help from ESH.
You know, there's been some success and some failure, and I think we've probably both come to the conclusion that that's the way it is in just about all aspects of farming. Some stuff turns out good, some doesn't. Some was within our control that we just made some mistakes along the way and learned from them, and others were things were just beyond our control.
Our next stop was at the ex-slaughterhouse, which is being transformed into the Longwood Enterprise Park and Packhouse. This capital project will eventually house 7 clean enterprise units. We then went to our last capital project, which was Bertrand's Cottage, which is being restored and transformed.
It'll be open different hours to our main, because it'll be open to match the airport timings of customers coming in or visitors coming in.
The last stop before returning to town was Button Up Corner in Seaview, where we heard about plans to install a viewing platform which will greatly improve safety standards. We finished our trip with a lunch and a Q&A at the canister, where Niall O'Keefe posed the question, what is the next phase for ESH? This sparked some fun and interesting discussion. Niall then ended the day by thanking everyone for attending.
Enterprise St Helena financially supported 118 businesses and clients from April 2014 to January 2016. Through their hospitality and construction upskilling programs, 34 students across 9 businesses are enrolled in hospitality NBQ diploma programs, and over 70 locals are undertaking internationally accredited construction training. You may have noticed a tall ship in James Bay over the past week. This is a Holden Lure. The ship is a part of the Class Afloat program, where students learn the skills to sail under the guidance of the captain and crew. On board there are classrooms, a spacious deck for social activities, and a fully modern galley. We spoke to some of the students to find out what they thought of the island.
We think it's great.
Really beautiful island.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, absolutely amazing.
Yeah. We've been to a lot of ports, and this is really by far one of the most beautiful.
Yeah, one of the best so far.
Yeah. Tomorrow we've got a hike up to whatever the highest peak here is.
Diana's Peak. We got here yesterday and we're here leaving on Saturday.
We're gonna go check out the whale sharks today. All of us are gonna go snorkel with whale sharks, which is like a big dream of mine, so really excited to do that.
The ship arrived from Walrus Bay and will be heading onto Ascension when it leaves. Find out more on the story in next week's Sentinel. Tuesday, the 9th of February, marked Shrove Tuesday, also known as Pancake Day. Newsbite went along to the canister to witness the traditional pancake races.
As the sun started to disappear over the hill and Jamestown became cooler, a crowd of about 200 began to gather around the canister area to see the annual pancake races. DJ Colin Peters kept everyone entertained with music, and there was also food for sale. The first races were for the kids up to 7 years old.
Well done.
After much persuasion, DJ Peters managed to get a group of adults to race as well. All in all, a fun afternoon was had by all in attendance.
Here now is Hannah Danford with last week's sporting results.
In sport over the weekend, Survivors edged a 3-set match against Good Volley Miss Molly, as women's volleyball continues. And in cricket, defending champions Levelwood All-Stars' unbeaten streak is ended. The Women's Sports Association Volleyball League moved into Week 2 on Sunday. Survivors and Good Volley Miss Molly played out a tense 3-set match in the first match of the weekend. Survivors took the first set 25-15, but Good Volley Miss Molly bounced back to take the second 26-24. The third set was hotly contested, with Survivors emerging as winners, taking the final set 15-13. Danielle Stevens was lady of the match. Here now are some of the highlights from that match. In the second match, St Setters produced a dominating performance to brush aside the challenge of ballsy ladies. Chloe Thomas was lady of the match for the second week running, as St Setters took the first set 25-17 and the second 25-3. In cricket, 3 matches were played over the weekend. On Saturday, Dolphins and Rebels went head-to-head, the only match of the day. Dolphins batted first and were dismissed for a below-par total of 95. Dion Diaga returned to his position at the top of the order and top-scored with 27. Rebels youngsters Brooklyn Fowler and Corey Scipio led the way for Rebels' bowling attack, taking 3 wickets each. Rebels chased down the required target with relative ease, losing 2 wickets on their way to 99. Brendan Liu finished unbeaten on 36. On Sunday, defending champions Levelwood All-Stars' unbeaten streak was ended by Jamestown Barracudas. All-Stars were asked to bat first and stumbled to a score of 155. Gareth Johnson scored the bulk of their runs before he was dismissed for 61. Gavin George rolled back the years, taking 2 for 18 in his 4-over spell. In reply, Barracudas reached the required target in 27.3 overs for the loss of 3 wickets. This leaves St Matthew's Lions as the only unbeaten team in the league. They have won all 7 of their matches and will face Levelwood All-Stars in their next fixture. Lions sit atop of the pile with All-Stars in second and Barracudas in third. The final match of the weekend saw Sandy Bay Pirates take on Western Warriors. Rhys Francis batted with maturity beyond his years, content to work the ball and rotate the strike as his partner, Barry Stroud, stroked his way to 46. The pair went on to produce a century stand, with Stroud looking to be in total control. He didn't offer up a chance at his wicket until he was dismissed. Court Siobhan Liu bowled Eddie Duff in the 16th over. Ronan Lairg's stay at the crease ended quickly after a moment of controversy. He was unsportingly run out by Geordie Henry at the non-striker's end, after the bowler had already entered his delivery stride. After a debate on the rules and a high level of distaste from the batting team, he was called back to the crease to carry on his innings. It was evident that neither side nor the umpire knew the correct rules. Lairg was wrongly given out. Henry entered his delivery stride but clung onto the ball, turned and whipped off the bails, so a dead ball should have been called. Law 42, which governs fair and unfair play, states the bowler is permitted, before entering his delivery stride, to attempt to run out the non-striker. Whether the attempt is successful or not, the ball shall not count as one of the over. If the bowler fails in an attempt to run out the non-striker, the umpire shall call and signal dead ball as soon as possible. Despite being allowed to continue his innings, Lairg was dismissed after the very next ball he faced, bowled Geordie Henry for 1. Francis was eventually dismissed for a well-crafted 58, but Pirates' score had already reached 171. Melvin Henry rolled back the years to clean up the tail with figures of 3 for 12. Warriors should have been more than happy to be chasing down a target under 200. However, they found themselves in a spot of bother when Cheddy Lawrence dismissed openers Tyrell Ellick and Mikey Williams for 7 runs apiece. Siobhan Liu produced a quick-fire 20-run cameo before he was bowled by Ryan Belgrove. Geordie Henry tried to play a steady innings with his lengthy spell at the crease, yielding 21 runs. However, he was quickly running out of batting partners. Jay Henry was eventually dismissed. Court Stroud bowled Darren Isaac. The only other batsman to provide meaningful contributions to Warriors' total was Rico Williams. They were eventually dismissed for 121, some 50 runs short of the required total.
Thanks, Hannah. That brings us to the end of this week's Newsbite. I'm Anne Clarke, and thank you all for watching.